here we are up in British Columbia, heading down into Alaska on the train. It's awesome. Views are great. Yeah, it's been great. I mean, look, it's just breathtaking views everywhere. It's a must do if you're on a cruise. Must do. All right, guys, welcome back to Odd History. So today we're diving into the White Pass and Yukon Railroad. It's often simply just called the White Pass Railroad, but I was up there in July, so you're gonna see some cool views, and we're gonna teach you about why it's there, why it was first built. So let's dive in. So the White Pass Railroad, completed in 1900, it's a narrow gauge railroad, and it stretches from Skagway, Alaska to White Horse, Yukon Territory. And it covers approximately 110 miles. And it was constructed during the Klondike Gold Rush. That's why it was constructed. And it was a period of which thousands of hopeful prospectors, they all streamed to the north, and they were trying to get rich, trying to make fortunes. But before the railroad, the journey was treacherous, with many forced to just go back and turn around. But they had to traverse the infamous Chilkoot Trail, where hundreds of lives were lost to avalanches, hypothermia, and just sheer exhaustion. But so the idea for the White Pass Railroad was born out of necessity. After witnessing the dangerous conditions on the Chilkoot Trail, British investors realized a railroad could solve these problems, offering a safer, quicker way to reach the gold fields. So construction began in May of 1898, led by contractor Michael J. Henney, who famously quipped, "Give me enough dynamite and I'll build a railroad to hell." The project was no easy feat. Laborers faced harsh weather. Obviously, you're in northern Canada, Alaska, so treacherous terrain and a race against time as the gold rush was already in full swing. So they used over 450 tons of explosives to carve out a path through the towering mountains and glaciers, often at dizzying heights that would make most modern engineers shudder. But the White Pass Railroad is actually known for its steep grades and sharp curves, rising from sea level in Skagway to nearly 3,000 feet at the White Pass summit. It's within about 20 miles. So you got a 3,000 incline in just 20 miles. But one of the most remarkable stretches of the line is the climb to Dead Horse, where the bodies of over 3,000 pack animals were left behind during the gold rush. So workers too faced deadly conditions. The White Pass was known for its violent snowstorms, with drifts that could bury entire work crews and avalanches that wiped out equipment and progress in general. But despite the hardships, the railroad was completed in just over 2 years. On July 29th, 1900, the final spike was driven into the tracks, and the White Pass Railroad became the primary route for gold rushers and miners traveling to the Yukon. Yet, just as quickly as it had risen to prominence, the Klondike Gold Rush ended, leaving the railroad without its original purpose. But the White Pass Railroad was nothing if not adaptable. Instead of transporting prospectors, it became a lifeline for the communities in Alaska and the Yukon, moving supplies, mail, and passengers. During World War II, the railroad became crucial to the U.S. Army, transporting military supplies to build the Alaska Highway, a critical defense project. So for several years, the railroad was one of the busiest in North America, its tracks humming with the weight of war materials. So by the 1980s, the White Pass Railroad had shut down for the freight due to declining demand. But in 1988, a new chapter began when it reopened as a tourist attraction. So today, the White Pass Railroad is considered one of the most scenic railways in the world, as you're seeing right now in this video. And it offers breathtaking views of the mountains, waterfalls, and glaciers. And visitors can travel on vintage locomotives and passenger cars, much like the ones used during its heyday. This railway isn't just a ride, it's a journey through history, with narration that details the incredible stories of the men and women who built it. One of the key reasons the White Pass Railroad remains such an iconic piece of history is its role in connecting two nations. The line is a symbol of the cooperative relationship between the United States and Canada. So in 1994, the White Pass Yukon Railroad was designated as an International Historic Civil Engineering Landmark. And that's joining the ranks of projects like the Eiffel Tower and Panama Canal. Its designation as a landmark serves as a reminder of the ingenuity and determination that defined the Gold Rush era in the early 20th century. So another interesting fact about the White Pass Railroad is the gauge, the width between rail to rail, and it's a narrow gauge railroad. It is only 3 feet wide, and it was 3 feet because it helped it navigate the steep incline and the steep curves. But throughout the world, there's a standard gauge. It's 56 and a half. You see it everywhere, country to country, and it's 56 and a half because back in the Roman days, all their roads, their chariots from wheel to wheel was 56 and a half. So it's a width of 2 horses' rear ends. It's actually an old wives' tale that they say may be true, maybe not true, but there's some truth to it. And so it's a width of 2 horses' rears. And if you had a chariot and you was on the Roman roads and your wheels was not 56 and a half inches, you're bouncing in and out of ruts, so you're wrecking. So this is a very unique thing that I've seen. You know, I actually work on the railroad, so I'd never seen a narrow gauge railroad, especially with regular sized train cars. So 3 feet, very unique. So the White Pass Railroad also played a significant role in the development of the little city of Skagway. And that's where you get off the train at, or get on it. You can go up the hill or down the hill. And I actually went on a cruise there, and that's one of your stops. When you take an Alaskan cruise, that's one of your ports you stop at. And it's a pretty little town, and it was basically a lawless town with just a few shacks until this railroad came in. So it kind of transformed Skagway overnight with this White Pass Railroad. But we stopped there and got some pizza after we got off the train, and it was actually really good pizza. They got, you know, cool little shops and ice cream. But I want to thank you all for sticking around. If you've made it this far, I appreciate y'all watching this video. But don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm always coming out with cool little odd history videos. I do a lot of videos about castles. Been doing some sifting for artifacts. I'm around a lot of old Indian land, so I'm looking for arrowheads all the time. So thank you all. Like and subscribe.